welcome to India Business Hour. I'm Ashmit Kumar, and here are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Chinese markets clocked their big week in almost 16 years after the Chinese central bank announces an economic stimulus package that includes lower cash reserve requirements and 2 trillion yuan in special sovereign bonds. The blue chip CSI 300 index ends 15% higher for the week. Hong Kong's Hang Seng sees its best week in over 26 years. The excitement over China's stimulus package is felt around the world. European markets end higher. Indian equities surge to fresh record highs in early trade, but slip into the red as profit booking kicks in. But the losses aren't enough to break a 3-week winning streak.
Any country, any customer in any country around the world, we will be shipping a Made in India solution to them.
As Cisco begins production at its first plant in India outside Chennai, global CEO Chuck Robbins says he's more excited about India's opportunities than ever before, says the products made at this plant will only be manufactured in India for all markets. That's an exclusive. Cisco global CEO Chuck Robbins says Indian startups in artificial intelligence will be in the running for its $1 billion AI fund. Adds that the company is looking at M&A opportunities in India, expanding AI and security startup space. Government to release guidelines for its mega internship scheme next week. Sources say only candidates with an annual family income below 8 lakh rupees who don't have a formal job will be eligible. Adds that large firms like Reliance Industries, Adani Group and Mahindra have already shown interest.
The experience has to be controlled by someone who understands the customer needs and the customer pain points.
PB Fintech Vice Chairman Alok Bansal clarifies on the company's possible foray into healthcare, tells CNBC-TV18 that the company is keen on fixing the healthcare experience for the Indian middle class, but adds that this need not necessarily mean asset ownership. That's an exclusive.
बैंकर्स जैसे भगवान के मंदिर में जाने के लिए आपको सही पुजारी चाहिए होता है, शायद हमने वो नहीं चूज करे तो उसका
Paytm founder Vijay Shekhar Sharma says he regrets not choosing the right banker for the IPO. Calls himself a bootstrapped entrepreneur. Says that the company's purpose of making payments accessible is a pious one. Israel continues to bomb Lebanon despite temporary ceasefire calls by USA and France. But Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says Hezbollah ceasefire discussions will continue. Over 700 people have been killed in Israel airstrikes since the start of this week. Japan's ruling party LDP elects former Defense Minister Shigeru Ishiba as the new leader. He will succeed Kishida as the next Prime Minister. The 67-year-old Ishiba secured a surprise win over the hardline nationalist Takaichi in a runoff vote. Also on the show, old school convenience stores, popularly known as Kirana stores, are feeling the heat of the quick commerce boom. In the second part of our series, Think It, Buy It, we take a look at how the rise of quick commerce has threatened the survival of Kirana stores. Well, let's begin by diving straight into the day's market action. The excitement over China's stimulus package has been felt around the world. European markets closed higher while Indian equities surged to fresh record highs in early trade. However, the benchmark slipped into the red at the end of the day owing to profit booking. But this wasn't enough to break a 3-week winning streak. Well, speaking of markets, the Chinese markets have clocked their best week in almost 16 years on the back of stimulus measures announced by the central bank. The blue chip CSI 300 index has closed 15% higher for the week, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng saw its best week in over 26 years. Speaking to CNBC, president and founder of Appaloosa, David Tepper, said that he's investing heavily in China as the stimulus measures would be incredible for the country.
Just Alibaba, or are you talking
Everything.
JD, Baidu, PDB,
Everything.
the 2 Chinese ETFs? Everything China.
ETF, you know, how we do futures, right? Everything. Everything. Listen, a long time ago, in 2010, I think I said everything.
And you would say
I remember when you said
and
everything.
you know what's good?
You were right.
Everything. Okay? So if they this is incredible stuff for that place, okay? So it's everything.
Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. Cisco's global CEO Chuck Robbins has said that he's more excited about India's opportunities than ever before as the company inaugurates its first manufacturing facility in the country in Chennai. Speaking exclusively to Shireen Bhan, he added that India was poised to become Cisco's key market for domestic growth as well as for exports. Robbins also added that Cisco was eyeing M&A opportunities in the nation's expanding AI and security startup space.
Spoke about the manufacturing facility in Tamil Nadu when you announced the decision to go ahead with that, and today you inaugurated the facility just a few hours ago. Take us through what the journey from start to operationalizing has meant for you.
I have to say the most rewarding part of walking through the factory today and touring it, we're seeing that the humans who are working in it, where we've created these jobs, it really is fascinating. It's phenomenal. Seeing the products that we're building here and thinking about the future and everything that we can do here, it's just very exciting. But the teams have done a good job getting us to this point. We're excited about it. We're obviously going to use this both domestically and for an export hub. So we think there's a bright future and a lot of runway here.
Is 2025 going to be a big year for M&A as well?
We're very happy with the Splunk acquisition. If you think about it in a nutshell, to be a great networking company, you have to be a great security company. To be a great security company, you're going to have to be a great AI company. And to be a great AI company, you're going to have to be a great data company. And we are the only company in the world that has all four of those. And so we think that we're well positioned, and we think that if we need other assets to actually continue to build on those capabilities, then we'll make those decisions as necessary.
Well, Chuck, potential for India from an M&A point of view, you talked about data, you talked about security, and we've got a bunch of startups operating in that space. Is there anything exciting on that front from an India perspective?
The exciting thing on the startup front in India is that it's expanding rapidly, and there is a lot of focus on the very areas that are important to us. If my memory serves me correctly, I think we've made 5 acquisitions here. And we launched a $1 billion AI fund to actually invest in AI startups. And I would suspect that there'll be lots of opportunities here in India to not only invest, but potentially acquire when it makes sense.
Now, PB Fintech, which runs the insurance aggregator platform Policy Bazaar, says it wants to fix the healthcare experience for Indians, especially the middle class. But Vice Chairperson and whole-time Director Alok Bansal tells CNBC-TV18's Shireen Bhan that it would be much better if interests were aligned between insurers and hospitals to give customers an amazing claims experience. Here's Bansal speaking exclusively to CNBC-TV18's Shireen Bhan about where things stand on that front and what else could be in store.
Are you getting into the hospital business?
See, we very, very firmly believe that's a very important need for middle class India today. The sort of over-treatment which happen in the hospitals, the frauds which can come into this, any person walking into a hospital is revenue for the hospital, but it's a cost for the insurance company. So unless that part is controlled, the consumer trust, and we're talking about middle class India, the consumer trust for that segment will not come. And unless that consumer trust is not there, they will not come to buy. And even if they come to buy, they will not buy. They will just look at the options and go away.
But getting into the asset management?
No, it's not asset management. It's the experience management. Asset can be owned by anyone. It doesn't really matter. But the experience has to be controlled by someone who understands the customer needs and the customer pain points.
Has the investor reaction startled you, surprised you, rattled you? Are you
Not really.
Are you reconsidering the plan?
No, not at all. See, if you think about it, we sort of started talking about it about 4-5 months ago.
Yeah.
The share price actually moved from 1,300 to 1,900 in that time frame. So technically, you can even say that, okay, investors loved it at that time frame. Now it's come down by something, it's okay. You can only do 2 things. You can execute, you can communicate. What is happening in the outside world is not in your control.
Well, speaking at the same event, Paytm CEO Vijay Shekhar Sharma has said that he regrets not choosing the correct banker for the company's IPO. Remember, Paytm stock had tumbled 27% on its listing day on the 18th of November, that's 2021, making it one of India's worst large IPOs. Currently, the stock is down 69% from its offer price. Sharma also added that Paytm did not attract VC investments in the initial 7 years since the inception of the company, and that he has been a bootstrapped entrepreneur.
I have a regret now, not in the joining of entrepreneurship. I've been entrepreneur for long enough now. I have a regret of not choosing the correct bankers for IPO. If you choose the correct bankers, जैसे भगवान के मंदिर में जाने के लिए आपको सही पुजारी चाहिए होता है, शायद हमने वो नहीं चूज करे तो उसका choose a right banker, my friends. अभी तो छोटी-छोटी IPO भी इतनी बड़ी हो जाती है. In Iran age, it was driver making a crore. In Paytm's case, I know 20 people who made ₹1 billion, 100 crores.
Excellent.
20 people. And many of them cashed out more than 100 crores. I'm a bootstrap entrepreneur who had to do a lot of cash generation by the business. And in that rush, I learned only one thing for ladies and gentlemen in the room. There's nothing called P&L. This profitability, which is a P&L, which is an opinion. The real truth is cash. Everything else is a trash.
Well, on to a CNBC-TV18 exclusive. The Corporate Ministry is expected to roll out guidelines for the centre's internship program within the next week. Sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the major corporate players, including the likes of Reliance, Adani Group and Mahindra, are already on board. Shivani Bajaj joins us now with the details. Shivani, take us through the eligibility norms.
Well, yes, sources have told CNBC-TV18 that the Ministry of Corporate Affairs is likely to release guidelines for the centre's new internship scheme within a week, with the dedicated portal expected to go live around the same time. Sources suggest that major companies like Reliance Industries, Adani Group and Mahindra have already shown interest in joining the program. As per the likely eligibility norms, we know that the interns need to be between 21 to 24 years old, but sources suggest that the guidelines also mandate that the family income of the applicants should be under 8 lakh rupees annually. This family income includes income from the candidate's parents as well as spouse. Now, another likely eligibility norm is that candidates shouldn't be pursuing any formal degree or a formal job, though online courses or vocational training will still qualify them for the internship program. On the industry side, government is likely to allow companies to engage interns across their supply chain and as well as their group companies. But the certification of the internship will have to come from the main company. This, sources say, is to keep the corporates invested in the progress of the interns, and with this the MCA is also asking corporates that all the roles given to these interns should be skill based, not menial at all. Sources say that training costs are likely to be covered by CSR funds. Now, there is no upper limit or cap as on how much the corporates would spend on training the interns, so the money can be utilized from the CSR fund. Apart from this, a monthly stipend of 500 rupees will be given to the interns from the CSR fund and 4,500, as we know, from the government, totaling to a 5,000 rupees per intern per month. The government will also provide, as we know, one-time additional time payment of 6,000 rupees to the interns. Now, the internship portal that will also go live in a week is likely to match candidate skills with the corporate needs, automatically generating CVs and sharing them with the corporate HR teams. The portal will also offer a multilingual call center support to help applicants navigate the process. This program, as announced in the 2024 budget, aims to boost youth employment by addressing India's skill gap. Back to you.
Right, Shivani, thanks a lot for that. Now, here's another CNBC-TV18 exclusive. IPO-bound Wari Energy's listed arm is looking to acquire Italy-based NL Group's India business for an estimated value of $300 to $350 million. According to sources, the potential acquisition could be a strategic step towards establishing an independent power-producing platform for Wari, which already has a strong presence in the solar engineering, procurement and construction space. And budget airline SpiceJet has announced that it has cleared all GST dues worth 71 crore rupees. This comes days after the airline raised 3,000 crore rupees via a qualified institutional placement or QIP. CNBC-TV18 also reported yesterday that the company settled pending salaries of employees for the last 3 months worth 80 crore rupees. And GQG Partners has agreed to pay $500,000 to settle charges with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC. This settlement is pertaining to the alleged violations of whistleblower protection rules. According to the SEC, between November of 2020 to September of 2023, GQG Partners made 12 people sign a non-disclosure agreement that restricted them from disclosing confidential information. Zomato is capable of becoming India's largest e-commerce company. So says Sanjeev Bikhchandani, founder of InfoEdge, which is an investor in the food delivery platform. Bikhchandani also revealed that he once refused an 8 crore rupee investment. He said that when he was about just starting out, he had an offer that also assured him of a listing on NASDAQ. Here's that anecdote in his own words.
8 crore rupees, what will we do with the money? I don't know what to do with 8 crore rupees. So it says, oh, very simple. You'll spend the money on advertising. That will build brand and barrier to entry. And 6 months later, we will raise twice the money at 4 times the valuation. And 1 year from now, we'll list you on NASDAQ. Okay? And I'm running out of my house in Transamana, right? And I say, okay, and I didn't know what NASDAQ was. You know, I had vaguely heard of NASDAQ. It's something to do with something in the US, something in New York, something to do with stock market listing. I don't know exactly what it is. I heard of NYSE because, you know, that is the older one. NASDAQ, I said, okay, you know, and I'm saying to myself, this guy is smoking dope. You know, बिजली नहीं आती है, 4 घंटे लोड शेडिंग होती है, जब बिजली आती है 160 वोल्टेज होती है, the ACs don't run, we can't afford batteries for our UPS, so the battery backup is 20 minutes only, right? We can't list in Paharganj, forget about listing on NASDAQ, right? You know.
Well, the union representing over 33,000 Boeing factory workers in USA's Pacific Northwest said it will resume negotiations with the company over pay. This comes as the union workers strike in demand of a 40% pay hike over 3 years nears its 3rd week. Kanishka Sharma is joining us now with more. Kanishka, what is the plane maker planning to do to avoid prolonging the operation stoppage?
Boeing and the union covering striking workers in USA's Seattle and Portland regions will resume stalled contract talks today as the plane maker seeks to avoid a prolonged stoppage as the strike nears its 3rd week. It's been 2 weeks since Boeing factory workers in that region have been striking for the first time in 16 years. The union of 33,000 workers is originally demanding a 40% pay hike over 3 years. Boeing has so far made 2 offers to the striking workers. They rejected the initial offer of a 25% pay increase, and the first round of mediated talks broke down last week without a deal being reached. The plane maker then made what it called its best and final offer of a 30% raise in pay over 4 years direct to the workers, which infuriated union leaders who slammed the attempt to bypass them as disrespectful. Boeing, however, said that its last offer would take the average annual pay for machinists from about $75,600 now to $1.11 lakh at the end of the 4-year contract. It would also keep annual bonuses based on productivity. But in the rejected offer, Boeing sought to replace those payouts with new contributions to retirement accounts. But following the union's opposition to the offer, Boeing backed down Tuesday and gave the union more time to consider the new proposal. However, many workers said that the company's latest offer wasn't good enough, considering the increased living costs since the last negotiation 16 years ago. Noting that the only way to resolve the strike is through negotiations, a regional district of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers said that the two sides would meet again today to discuss the matter alongside federal mediators. Now, the impact of the strike is that it has led to a shutdown of production of Boeing 737s, 767s and 777s. It has also led the company to make cost-cutting moves, including rolling temporary furloughs for thousands of non-union managers and employees.
Right, Kanishka, thanks a lot for that. Now, the Supreme Court has pulled up the Delhi Air Quality Management Commission over its failure to address the issue of stubble burning. The court slammed the panel, saying, and I quote, the commission needs to be more active, end of quote. The 2-judge bench also questioned the panel for not meeting and reviewing such a serious issue more regularly. Further, the court has asked the panel to file an affidavit before the next hearing on the 3rd of October. And coming up on India Business Hour, old school convenience stores, popularly known as Kirana stores, are feeling the heat of quick commerce boom. A special report in just a bit. And you can also catch all CNBC-TV18's news and updates on Facebook, X, Threads, Instagram and JioCinema. Now, Israel has rejected global calls for a 21-day ceasefire with Hezbollah as it continued attacks in the southern part of Lebanon. Prime Minister Netanyahu has vowed that the Israeli military would continue to bombard Hezbollah targets indefinitely. According to Lebanese officials, Israeli airstrikes have killed nearly 700 people in the region so far. Israeli defense forces have claimed to hit about 220 Hezbollah-related targets. Officials also said that strikes on suburban areas of Beirut have killed the head of the militant group's drone unit. Meanwhile, Israel has claimed that Hezbollah launched rockets towards Haifa and its surrounding regions in northern Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu also said that the country will continue to target Hezbollah with full force.
Our policy is clear. We are continuing to hit Hezbollah with full force, and we will not stop until we achieve all our goals. First and foremost, returning the residents of the north safely to their homes.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has criticized Joe Biden-led administration for providing diplomatic support to Israel despite the mounting death toll in Gaza. In his address at the UN General Assembly, Mahmoud urged the international community to stop supplying weapons to Israel and also laid out a 12-point roadmap for post-war management. More than 41,000 people have been killed in Gaza since the war began in October of 2023. Well, back home, quick commerce has changed the way people shop. The convenience it offers is increasingly making old-school convenience stores or kirana stores redundant. In the second part of CNBC-TV18 series, Think It, Buy It, CNBC-TV18 Shilpa Rani Petta reports that many of India's 30 million kirana stores are struggling to stay alive.
India's consumers are an impatient lot, and India's ubiquitous neighborhood kirana stores are losing business. First, quick commerce platforms took away the forgetful or absent-minded customer who popped into stores for some last-minute purchases. And now increasingly, even the regulars who drop by once a week or once a month for their planned purchases are choosing to let their fingers do the walking. Reports suggest the rapid rise of quick commerce platforms has taken away 25 to 30% of the business kirana stores could boast, and industry bodies claim nearly 25% of India's 30 million kirana stores are on the verge of shutting shop.
When these competitors have entered, so now what has happened is customers' mindset and customer itself has the habit, the practice of them ordering grocery has changed completely. So what has happened, even if they want to order say 200 rupee item or 300 rupee item, they want quick delivery, and this is the habit which is what where we are facing a big competition.
Over the last 2 years, these kirana stores have seen a significant negative impact because of quick commerce platforms, where there's impulse buying for certain kind of products. Those are things which are bought from the kirana stores, or probably somebody would go and pick them up. But I think because of the convenience that quick commerce offers, this is kind of hampered growth for kirana stores in the metro cities. And if at all quick commerce scales up beyond the metro cities, they go to tier 2 and tier 3 markets, and if at all they're able to attain success there as well, you will see a bigger negative impact for kirana stores as a whole.
It's not just the ease of ordering and the speed of delivery that has worked in Q-commerce's favor. It's the discounts on offer which kirana stores are unable to match. For kirana stores, costs are also mounting. The margins offered by FMCG manufacturers has dropped to 10 to 12%, lower than the 18 to 20% they got before the COVID-19 pandemic. Establishment costs and stock holding costs are also rising, something Q-commerce platforms are able to offset with scale.
The profit margin of a kirana store is not more than 5 to 10% or 15% to the max. One primary concern and issue what we are thinking is that increasing control of quick commerce platform over their products on distribution. In a primary case, in many cases, a single platform assumes full control over sales and distribution of a product.
The All India Consumer Products Distribution Association has filed a complaint with the Commerce Ministry raising concerns over the threat of quick commerce and alleging a host of missteps, including violation of FDI norms. Some kirana stores, meanwhile, have chosen to innovate and try to fight for survival. These range from trying to connect with consumers via WhatsApp to sprucing up their stores and widening products on offer to integrating billing and back-end systems using technology.
We have also tried to slowly, gradually change our modules. पहले ये हमारी store was always an offline store. Since now we have also started little bit of online. If you have seen the traditional store, what in olden times it used to be, उसके हिसाब से आज आप देखेंगे तो store are more brighter. The displays have changed. What I see that people who requires a personal service will definitely come to the stores.
But these innovations come with costs attached, and it's not something every store is able to afford. So while Kirana stores try to put their head above the water, they're hoping that familiarity, trust and the need for touch and feel will keep bringing the regular customers to their stores, and that will help keep the lights on for now. But they say that without government intervention, which could be in the form of protectionist policies or easier access to funding for tech upgradation, long-term survival is still not in the basket. In Mumbai, Shilpa Rani Peta.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of India Business Hour. Thank you so much for watching. News and updates will continue right here on CNBC TV 18.